You know, I always believed in two things: my marriage and my family. To me, those weren't just words, they were sacred. My husband, Daniel, and my sister, Olivia. They were my safe place. The people I trusted more than anyone in this world. Never, not even in my worst nightmares, did I imagine that they would be the ones to break me. It started like any other day. A random notification, just a simple glance. And there it was. A message that wasn't meant for me. At first, I told myself it had to be some kind of mistake. Maybe I misunderstood. But as my hands started trembling, and I opened more, the truth hit me like a punch straight to the chest. Secret meetups, flirty texts, hotel confirmations, all between my husband and my sister. My heart didn't just break. It shattered into pieces so tiny I could barely breathe. The betrayal, the shock. It was suffocating. I felt like the floor disappeared right beneath me. I was drowning in this mixture of grief, rage, and disbelief. But as the chaos in my head slowly started to settle, one thought began to rise, louder than the pain. If they were brave enough to betray me in secret, then they better be brave enough to face the truth in front of everyone. I remember just sitting there, staring at my phone, my hands shaking so bad I could barely hold it. My ears were ringing, my vision blurred with tears I didn't even realize were falling. How? How could the two people I loved and trusted the most do this to me? I kept scrolling, even though every word felt like a knife twisting deeper. The "I miss you" texts. The last night was amazing. The dates, the hotels. It wasn't just a fling, it was a full-blown affair. And what made it worse was realizing how comfortable they were doing it behind my back. How easily they smiled in my face, laughed with me, hugged me, all while carrying this disgusting secret between them. It wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. It was like my whole life had been a lie, a carefully staged performance where I was the only fool who didn't know the script. I could have exploded right then. I could have confronted them both, screamed, cried, demanded answers. But something inside me shifted. A part of me that I didn't even know existed suddenly stood up, and it whispered, "No, not like this. You're not going to give them the satisfaction of watching you fall apart. No, if they were bold enough to betray you, then they can be bold enough to face the truth, in front of everyone." That's when the plan started forming in my head. I wiped my tears, took a deep breath, and looked at myself in the mirror. And for the first time, I wasn't looking at the same woman anymore. Something had shifted. The heartbreak was still there. Oh, it was very much there. But right behind it, something else started brewing. Determination, fire, power. If they thought I was just going to cry quietly and fade into the background, they clearly forgot who I am. No, this wouldn't be a private meltdown. This wouldn't be some pitiful confrontation in a parking lot or over a dinner table. If they were bold enough to humiliate me behind closed doors, then they would have to be just as bold when the curtains came down, with the whole family watching. I started thinking, planning. What would hurt more than anything? What would leave a mark they'd never be able to erase? And then it hit me. A family event was coming up. Everyone would be there. Everyone who mattered. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And while they had no idea, while they smiled and played their little game, I quietly started preparing the one thing they never saw coming. It's almost funny how life hands you exactly what you need, right when you need it. Just a few days after discovering everything, an invitation landed right in my lap. A big family gathering. A milestone birthday. One of those events where everyone shows up. Aunts, uncles, cousins, old family friends, the entire circle. The timing couldn't have been more perfect if I had planned it myself. I played my part, flawlessly, smiling when I needed to, laughing at their jokes, even pretending to get along with Olivia, like nothing in the world had changed. Oh, the irony. Every time she hugged me or held my hand, acting like the perfect sister, my stomach twisted. But on the surface, I was cool, collected, almost untouchable. While they were busy living in their little fantasy, I was busy collecting receipts, literal ones. Hotel bookings, screenshots of texts, calls at strange hours. Every disgusting piece of proof I could get my hands on. And let me tell you, they were careless. So comfortable, so confident. As if the universe would never dare pull back their curtain. But guess what? I was about to be that universe. Every night, while they were probably texting each other their sweet little lies, I was working. Screenshot after screenshot, message after message. I even went as far as pulling old receipts from Daniel's credit card. Dinners, hotel stays, gifts that clearly weren't for me. Oh, they left a trail. A messy one. And I made sure to follow every step. But it wasn't just about the evidence. No. I wanted this to leave an imprint. I wanted every word, every picture, every dirty little secret to echo in that room. So I started writing. A speech. Not just any speech. The speech. One that would start like any other. Warm, sweet, heartfelt. Only to take a turn so sharp it would slice through every fake smile in that place. And the closer the day got, the better I became at wearing the mask. Smiling with Olivia, laughing with Daniel, acting like the oblivious, devoted wife. Let them think they fooled me. Let them enjoy every second of it. Because while they were busy celebrating themselves, they had no idea I was counting down to the moment everything came crashing down. As the day got closer, I could almost feel this electric mix of nerves and excitement buzzing under my skin. Not the kind of nerves you get when you're scared. No, this was different. It was the kind of adrenaline that surges through you right before you do something bold, something unforgettable. I wasn't walking into this event as a broken woman. I was walking in as someone holding the detonator. I rehearsed my speech over and over, out in front of the mirror, in my car, even while folding laundry. Each word carefully chosen, each sentence sharpened like a blade. I wanted it to sound natural, effortless, but hit with the force of an earthquake. This wasn't just revenge. This was justice. My justice. And the best part? They had absolutely no clue. Olivia was texting me about what dress to wear. Daniel kissed me goodbye that morning like the devoted husband he pretended to be. They were so sure, so confident in their little world of lies. And I just smiled, knowing full well that the next time we'd all be in the same room, nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever be the same again. The day finally arrived. I won't lie. The moment I stepped into that venue, my heart was pounding so loud it felt like it was echoing in my ears. But it wasn't fear. Not anymore. It was power. A strange, intoxicating kind of power. I walked in, smiled, hugged relatives, exchanged pleasantries, just like I always had. On the outside, I was the picture of grace, the perfect wife, the loving sister. But inside? Oh, inside was a wildfire waiting to be unleashed. The room was buzzing, laughter, glasses clinking. The smell of perfume mixed with food. Warm smiles everywhere. Olivia was floating around, greeting everyone like the perfect daughter, the perfect sister, the perfect everything. Daniel, right beside me, playing the role of the doting husband so well, it was almost Oscar-worthy. He held my hand, whispered in my ear, smiled like nothing was wrong, like he wasn't standing right next to the woman he was betraying me with, and the woman he was betraying me for. And me? I watched, every glance, every touch, every moment they thought they were so clever, so subtle. But now, it wasn't pain I felt. It was fuel. Every little fake smile, every soft whisper between them just made me more certain, more ready. Keep playing your part, I thought, because soon, the curtains are coming down. As the night went on, I found myself floating between conversations, pretending to be fully present, smiling, laughing, nodding at stories I wasn't even hearing. But in reality, my mind was locked on one thing, the moment I would take center stage. I could feel the weight of the envelope tucked neatly inside my purse. Inside it was everything. Every ugly little truth, every receipt of betrayal. My hands brushed over it from time to time. Like touching it grounded me. I caught Olivia's eye across the room. She waved, all sweet and innocent. Can you believe that? Waved. Like the kind of wave only a sister who doesn't sleep with your husband would give. Daniel was chatting with my uncle, laughing. That carefree kind of laugh that made me wonder, did he ever even feel guilty? Did either of them? Or were they both so deep in their little fantasy that they genuinely believed they'd never get caught? I could feel it building. The anticipation. This was it. This was the last time either of them would ever look me in the eye without seeing the reflection of their own shame staring back. My heart started to race, not from nerves, but from knowing that the moment I had meticulously prepared for was just a few breaths away. Then, I heard it. The gentle clinking of a spoon against a glass. Someone was calling for a toast. My toast. All eyes slowly shifted toward me, people smiling, waiting, expecting some sweet, sentimental little speech about love, family, and gratitude. And honestly, that's exactly what they were about to get, at least in the beginning. I stood up, smoothed my dress, picked up my glass, pretending my hands weren't trembling, though not from fear, from sheer adrenaline. Daniel reached for my hand, gave it a little squeeze. Oh, the irony. Olivia stood just a few feet away, looking at me with that rehearsed, supportive sister smile, and they had no idea. None. As I cleared my throat and took the microphone, this strange calm washed over me. A calm I didn't expect, like my body knew. This was the moment everything would change. And as the room quieted, leaning in to hear my first words, I realized something. If you were brave enough to betray me behind closed doors, let's see how brave you are when the doors are wide open. I started slow, gentle, warm, the kind of speech everyone expected. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for being here. Family means everything to me. It's the foundation of who I am. Smiles all around, heads nodding. People leaned in, expecting more of that sentimental, feel-good nonsense we always say at gatherings like this. I glanced at Olivia, smiling, clueless, then at Daniel, still holding my hand, rubbing his thumb over my knuckles like he was the world's most devoted husband. My stomach churned, but not from sadness. No, from the satisfaction of knowing what was coming next. They really thought they were safe here, surrounded by family, shielded by lies. Oh, how wrong they were. I took a deep breath, smiled even wider, and let my voice soften. You know, family is built on trust. It's supposed to be where we feel the safest, where we know we're protected, loved, respected. And then, without warning, I let the softness slip. My voice sharpened, my tone dropped. But what happens when the very people we trust the most are the ones who stab us in the back? The entire room shifted, laughter died, conversations froze, silence, heavy, immediate. People exchanged confused looks. Olivia blinked. Daniel stiffened. And that's when I knew. They felt it. I could feel the energy shift, the kind of silence that presses against your skin, heavy and suffocating. Some people started fidgeting. Others glanced at each other, unsure if they heard me right. But Daniel? Oh. I felt his grip on my hand tighten, his body stiffen. And Olivia? She froze, that sweet little smile slowly fading from her lips, replaced by something else entirely. Panic. I reached into my purse, calm, steady, slower than necessary, letting every movement speak louder than words. And as I pulled out the stack of papers, the screenshots, the receipts, the undeniable truth, my hands didn't even tremble. You see, I thought I had a marriage built on love. And I thought I had a sister I could trust with my life. But it turns out, I was wrong on both counts. Gasps. I heard them. Felt them. people whispering, hands flying to mouths. Some couldn't even process what was happening yet. I flipped the first page up, held it high enough for the people closest to see. Text messages, plain as day. Can't wait to see you tonight. Last night was incredible. Names attached, numbers attached. There was no denying it. No way out. Not anymore. Olivia's face went pale, completely drained of color. Her lips trembled as she stammered, Wait, I can explain. But her voice was so small, so broken, it barely made a sound. Daniel? Oh, he tried to reach for me, tried to interrupt, tried to say something, anything, but I wasn't having it. I yanked my hand away and looked him dead in the eyes. No, you don't get to speak. You've said enough. Behind my back. Gasps rippled through the room. Some people had their hands over their mouths. Others were shaking their heads in disbelief, whispering to each other. The silence was loud, deafening, broken only by Olivia's desperate sobs and Daniel's pathetic attempts to salvage whatever scraps of dignity he had left. I took a step forward, my voice steady, sharp, controlled. I wanted you both to feel this, to feel what it's like to be humiliated, to be betrayed, to stand in a room full of people who once trusted you, and now see you for who you really are. I let the words hang there, heavy, cutting. I wasn't crying, I wasn't shaking, I wasn't broken. No. I was done. And as I stared at them, my husband, my sister, the two people who shattered me, I ended it with a simple, brutal truth. I thought you both deserved to know how it feels, since doing it behind my back clearly wasn't enough for you. I didn't wait for anyone to say a word. I didn't wait for explanations, excuses, or the inevitable begging that was surely about to follow. I placed the microphone down, calmly, deliberately, like someone setting down the last piece of a puzzle. I grabbed my purse, lifted my chin, and walked, straight out, past the shocked faces, past the whispers, past the gasps, and I never, not for a single second, looked back. My heels echoed against the floor, but it wasn't the sound of retreat. No, it was the sound of freedom. Every step felt lighter, every breath deeper. I wasn't running away from something. I was walking toward something else, toward me, the version of me that they tried to break, tried to humiliate, tried to erase. But guess what? They failed. By the time I reached the door, I could already hear the chaos erupting behind me. Olivia crying, Daniel scrambling to save face. Family members stunned, some furious, others speechless. But none of it mattered. Not anymore. I wasn't their problem anymore. I wasn't their victim anymore. I was done being the woman everyone thought would stay quiet, stay small, stay broken. The days that followed, they were a whirlwind, but not the kind that pulls you under. The kind that clears the air. I didn't waste a single moment. I filed for divorce immediately. No discussions, no second chances, no drawn-out drama. Daniel was officially nothing more than a chapter I had closed, slammed shut, locked, and set on fire. As for Olivia, she was dead to me, completely erased. No calls, no texts, no awkward family attempts at mediation. Nothing. I blocked her, removed her from every part of my life like pulling a rotten tooth. Painful for a second, but the relief afterward? Oh, it was indescribable. I never realized how heavy betrayal feels until the moment you finally drop it. And you know what? I made sure my voice was louder than theirs. I told everyone my story before they even had a chance to spin it. Friends, family, mutual connections. I laid it all out, clear, honest, unapologetic. No shame, no guilt, because if there's one thing I wasn't going to let happen, it was them controlling the narrative. Not this time. It's funny. What was supposed to be the worst day of my life ended up being the day I took my power back, the day I finally stopped shrinking myself to make other people comfortable, the day I stopped ignoring red flags, stopped making excuses, stopped tolerating less than I deserved. I look at myself now, really look, and I barely recognize the woman staring back, not because she's broken, not because she's damaged, but because she's free. Freer than she's ever been. Stronger, smarter, louder, braver, a version of me that I don't think even I knew existed until they forced me to meet her. And as I sit here, breathing in this beautiful silence, no longer carrying the weight of their lies, I whisper to myself, they betrayed me, but I exposed them. And now, I'm finally free.